Hey everyone, thanks for joining me again on my YouTube channel for Workshop Quick Takes. Today we're looking at cargo tie downs. There's no limit to the vehicles you could apply this to, even though today in particular we're looking at a hatchback or wagon style vehicle. But join us and see what you might be able to do to modify your car. Cargo tie down points are an essential part of any wagon or sport utility vehicle, but the quality varies and the OE provided hooks aren't always fit for the job. On one hand, this mid-2000s Honda CR-V has some of the best OE provided hooks we've ever seen. Sturdy, secured against twisting, and mounted with a proper threaded bolt. And on the other hand, there's our 2000 Jeep Cherokee XJ, where the hooks are an afterthought right down to the cheap metal tabs and self-tapping screws. Yep, they came like that from the factory. As the saying goes, it's a Jeep thing. But we can do better. And so can you. The methods and materials we're going to show today are replicable in a wide range of vehicles. To start today's project, we need the following items. First, we need to get a set of heavy-duty D-ring tie-downs, 4 total. These came from a local home improvement store that begins with an H and ends with an Home Depot, although the rings are widely available at other stores. Side note, that would be a really cool name for an electronic components superstore. Note to self, must investigate future business options. The remainder of our shopping list consists of these nifty L brackets from the construction framing supplies, and foam weather stripping. We will need a hardware set to install these rings, but the drawer stock for high-strength hardware at home improvement stores tends to be limited and unreliable. I think we'll have better options at our local hardware store. We've got a well-run Ace Hardware nearby, but a do-it-best or True Value is also a good option depending on what you have available locally. If you want your cargo tie-downs to be properly secure, you do need to use strong hardware. We're not trying to bolt a suspension together today, so 1/4 inch or maybe 5/16 inch SAE grade 5 or similar metric class 8.8 is more than enough. But there's no harm in stepping up to SAE grade 8 or metric class 10.9 if that's what's available. Here, our D-rings have a dark finish, and we've got a selection of black oxide coated grade 8 hex bolts available here at Ace, so those will do. Just remember that hardware sets are only as strong as the weakest link. Use a grade 8 bolt with a grade 5 nut or vice versa, and you have a grade 5 hardware set. Oh, right, there was one more thing we picked up at the hardware store, and that was these stainless steel T-lock nuts. These act as a spacer so the D-rings can rotate freely in their shackles without jamming up the carpet. Now, let's talk about those L brackets and the weather stripping. We could install the nut underneath the floor using just some kind of washer, but to make the D-rings much stronger, a reinforcing plate is in order. We chose the roofing brackets because they are about the right size. However, they did need a couple modifications on the bench. We don't need most of the L section, but we'll leave some of it because the curvature adds strength to the steel. A little filing to get the rough edges off is never a bad idea. A couple holes are drilled out. And since these are only zinc plated, not galvanized, a coat of Rust-Oleum rubberized paint will help reduce corrosion. Finally, the weather stripping is added to prevent moisture incursion into the cabin through the floor, and pierced for the bolts. We had to drill out the OEM mounting hole for the original cargo retainer ring to match our new hardware size, and add a second hole spaced to the D-ring shackle. After checking the situation below to make sure we had clearance, the floor steel was easily done with an ordinary drill.
Who writes this garbage?
Carpet, however, can be a problem. We found the most effective way to make a clean hole is to heat a small framing nail to cherry red using a propane torch, then make a quick stab. Nylon materials may give you some trouble yet, but polyester and other low-temperature thermoplastics will make a quick, neat, self-sealing hole. Just make sure you have a working fire extinguisher handy in case this process goes sideways. Unless, of course, you're going for an insurance claim, which is generally a more financially sound use of an old Jeep like ours, but we want to keep this one running, so precautions. Done and done. In the end, we decided to do this for 3 of the D-ring tie-down positions while mounting the 4th D-ring on the spare tire bracket. The bracket itself is then bolted through the floor in place of the original self-tapping screws, again, using another piece of framing hardware to act as a reinforcing plate on the underside. Just watch out for the guard plate that protects the gas tank filler hose, as you may have to work around it while modifying the spare tire bracket. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us again today. That was a fairly simple modification that can be done with supplies from an ordinary home improvement store or hardware store, so what are you waiting for? Get out there and modify your vehicle to meet your needs.
Has anyone seen my phone?